talk about the game that LSU was in last year, the Citrus Bowl. Let's talk about our last bowl game today, guys. We have made it to the very end. Number 17, Iowa. Number 21, Tennessee. Tennessee's an 8.5-point favorite, which I don't know how long it takes Iowa to get 8.5 points, but it's a long time, man. The Brian Ferentz swan song, it is here. Don't cry because it's over. Cry because it happened. Imagine having all of those incentives and having 32 fewer yards per game than any offense in America. It is truly a chef's kiss of horrible. Iowa has played 35 consecutive games without passing for 250 yards. That is hard to do in this day and age. So odds are against Deacon Hill to do that, even against the Tennessee secondary that's dealing with major depth issues. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Josh Heupel has never coached in a game in which the over-under is 36.5 points, the lowest of bowl season. That is just Iowa through and through. Marler, you're a sicko if you're taking Iowa plus 8.5.
Iowa is so bad to watch. It's so bad it's fun. One time when I was in college, I rented Lake Placid 2, which was I think like a sci-fi original sequel to the movie Lake Placid, which was not a hit in the first place. There's no reason to make a sequel, and it was awful. And I watched it over and over again. That's every Iowa fan in the country. Like it's every single game. It 15-6, 12-10, 13-10. It's so bad. I mean, you want to talk about two contrasting styles. Awful. I do think that Tennessee. The most interesting part of this for me is Joe Milton going to play the entire 60 minutes?
Fair question. I think Josh Heupel's going to try and do right by him, and they will leave him out there for at least 3 quarters, depending on what the score looks like. But if he struggles early and they decide, you know what, Nico Iamaleava, still crushing the pronunciation of that one, if it's time for the Nico era to begin, just something to keep in mind. I don't know that they want to throw him to the Wolves, though, against that Iowa defense. That's the one thing that I would probably push back on and say Joe Milton is probably a little better equipped at this stage of his career to handle that than having a true freshman out there.
Is he? Is he though?
Yeah, I try to say something nice about Joe Milton.
I love the idea that Joe Milton kept bragging in the offseason that he could throw the ball 90 yards, which is like literally impossible for Iowa to do in any 60-minute football game. And it's just been, again, two contrasting styles.
Very true. Bob, friends don't let friends take Iowa to cover. I can't let you sit here and tell me why Iowa plus 8.5 is the play. I don't think I can, unless you could talk about
I have nothing for you. Tennessee has been a pretty good front runner this year. They've been favored 5 times by greater than 7.5 points. They're 4-1 against the spread in those games. Iowa 1-2 when an underdog of at least 7.5 points. Iowa, to nobody's surprise at all, is the worst team in the country when it comes to hitting the over. They were 11-2 to the under this season. I see no reason to do anything but take the under in this game. I know that people are looking at this spread and going, or I'm sorry, looking at this total and going 36.5. My God, that's low. My reaction to this was, my God, that's high. We've seen them with, totals of 26, 25.5. I mean, they played a game last month
and
where
hit.
Hit the under. I believe it was against Rutgers. It was the lowest total of all time. So, and I believe that they played a 13-10 game against Nebraska. It's horrible.
Bob, it was the lowest of all time, and then the next week was even lower, and then that
you
was the
can't
lowest
set a
of all
total
time
low enough for Iowa. So 36.5 is like stealing money. Give it to this. Might be my play of the bowl season. Under.
I can't look
like that.
At this point. You just can't justify any of it. Any of it. Is this Marler? Is this one of those like across the board? We're just taking strictly unders. We're taking unders for all these Iowa props. No, you're not taking Iowa.
No,
over. You can't take Iowa over on passing yards. I won't let you do that.
No, I would never. What is it, like a 7? I'm not doing
single
that.
digits.
No, I will say this. The thing that if you want Iowa to stick around, if you're an Iowa fan, I think the one thing that could happen is you watch Joe Milton. When things get kind of frustrating for him, he doesn't seem to just kind of stay even keeled. And like, I haven't seen him stay for 60 minutes within himself, I feel like, in games like that where he gets frustrated as a quarterback. Iowa is going to frustrate you because it makes zero sense while there's that many white kids in the secondary that are absolutely just locked on the entire time. It's ridiculous. But I'll also say this: I think that the play here from outside of like the actual spread, and I don't have the line on it yet because it's not out, but it's almost a system play for me this year. Tennessee to score first. At one point this season, Tennessee had scored first in 27 of Josh Heupel's 33 career games. They score first a lot. When they're on script, they're very, very dangerous. And the other thing here is that Iowa sucks, so that probably will stay the course.
Iowa's defense does not suck. That we know. But Tennessee, with Josh Heupel, even in their lean offensive times like this year has been, they can score on the 85 Bears on an opening drive. They absolutely can. Scoring first, that seems very, very obvious. Gosh, if you go ahead, Marler, you got a thoughts on you're gonna talk yourself. Don't talk yourself into a live bet on Iowa taking the over. Just don't do that. I can't.
Well, I will tell you that right now that Iowa 24.5. What do you call it? Over under against Nebraska. I teased the blank out of that. They were 2.5 point underdog, and I think Oklahoma was favored by 9, so it was 10 points, and all they had to do was cover 12.5 total points. It was ridiculous. I will say this: if you can get a prop on total field goals made in this game, and it's right around 3, if it's 2.5, 3.5, I think that's a good bet too.
Is there a punt prop?
It'll fly over. For sure.
Yeah. Hey, sports fans, we've got an exciting offer exclusively for new users of ESPN Bet. When you join, be sure to enter the promo code SOUTH during sign up to unlock an additional $50 in your betting account. That's right. You can wager on your favorite sports and receive up to $250 in bonus bets when you use the promo code SOUTH. Please remember, you must be 21 years old to participate in sports betting. We encourage responsible gambling within your means. If you ever need assistance or support, please reach out to 1-800-522-4700. Join the action today and make the most of this fantastic offer.